Today we're going to discuss Chapter 8, Organizational Environment and Culture. This slide highlights the concept of organizational culture and uses Amazon as an example to illustrate its impact. First, what is organizational culture? Think of it as the invisible water that shapes how people behave in an organization. It includes values, assumptions, and norms. Culture is critical because it drives everything from employee behavior to decision-making and ultimately affects success. Amazon's culture, led by Jeff Bezos, is a great case study. Bezos has created a culture of customer obsession, agility, and innovation. Prime memberships and distribution strategies reflect their commitment to delivering what customers want when they want it. However, even successful cultures face challenges. Amazon contends with high shipping costs, criticism of working conditions, and regulatory concerns. Bezos addresses these through job creation, improving work environments, and supporting economic growth. As leaders, it's essential to understand and manage organizational culture effectively. It's the foundation of how a company operates and adapts to change. Introduction to organizational culture. Culture is the shared assumptions, values, and beliefs shaping behavior. Often invisible to employees like water to fish. It's influenced by founders, industry demands, and early goals. It can be an asset or liability for organizations. What invisible cultural elements do you think exist in your university? Look at the cultural iceberg. This shows an example of the visible culture, which are the behaviors, mission, and strategy you can see from above the surface. But below the surface is the unseen culture and the deep culture. These are interpretations, relationships, attitudes, beliefs, and values that you can't necessarily see but are known throughout the culture. Organizations don't operate in isolation. They're like the ships navigating ever-changing waters. These external forces, including economic trends and cultural changes, impact decisions and require strategic adaptation. Companies like Amazon and Google thrive by innovating and adapting, whereas others like Blockbuster and Kodak faltered by failing to evolve. Remember, understanding the macro environment is crucial for anticipating and responding to challenges. Internal structures define how organizations respond to external forces. Mechanistic designs are rigid and work well in predictable environments, while organic structures provide flexibility and adaptability for changing complex markets. Think of these structures as tools. Select the right one for the environment your organization operates in. Mechanistic is suited for stable, simple environments. It's hierarchical, rule-based, and specialized tasks, whereas organic is suited for unstable, complex environments with flexible, participatory decision-making. Most organizations fall somewhere on a continuum. Which structure do you think would work best for a fast food restaurant or a tech startup? Each structure offers unique strengths and weaknesses. This is a list of organizational structures. Functional structures focus on specialization, which boosts efficiency but can create silos. Divisional structures provide a customer-centered approach, but divisions often operate independently, causing communication and gaps. There are also geographic, matrix, network, and visual structures. Functional structure. This is organized by departments, so R&D, production, and accounting. Some advantages are specialization and clear reporting. Some disadvantages are silos, slow decision-making, and are best for small companies and stable environments. Can you think of a company that likely uses a functional structure? The matrix structure. Employees report to both functional and project managers. Some advantages are that it's flexible and it's efficient resource use. Disadvantages include dual authority and potential conflicts. This is best for complex projects and dynamic environments. What skills would be important for employees in a matrix structure? Matrix and network structures address modern challenges. Matrix designs allow flexibility but require strong communication to manage dual authority. Virtual structures thrive in decentralized, tech-driven environments, but demand trust and reliable digital tools. How might a network structure impact employee relationships and company loyalty? Organizations must continuously adapt. Companies like Amazon and Spotify succeed by integrating innovative structures and responding to external pressures. In contrast, firms like Blockbuster failed due to resistance to change. Stay vigilant about trends like AI and CSR and embrace flexible structures to remain competitive. Organizational culture defines the personality and behavior of a company. It's why Peter Drucker said culture eats strategy for breakfast. Culture aligns employees, motivates behaviors, and even determines how well a company adapts to external challenges. Remember, a culture that fits the industry, like innovation for tech companies, can be a powerful competitive advantage. However, the wrong culture can lead to poor performance. Leaders must observe artifacts like office layout or dress codes to grasp the visible aspects of culture, but must also dig deeper to understand what's under the surface, values, and assumptions shaping the organization. Strong versus weak cultures. Strong cultures have widely shared and deeply held values. A weak culture has less agreement on values and less influence on behavior. Strong cultures can be assets or liabilities. As an asset, it's alignment and motivation. Liability is when there's resistance to change or groupthink. Can you think of a company for its strong culture? Google. Google is a great example. Google's success stems from a unique culture that balances innovation, collaboration, and employee well-being. They prioritize user experience, exemplified by their ad-free search page and clear sponsored links. Internally, perks like free meals and childcare help attract and retain top talent. Their openness to mistakes fosters creativity, like their 20% time for personal projects. Decisions are data-driven, and their open offices encourage collaboration. Finally, their selective hiring ensures employees align with Google's values. This cohesive culture supports both their innovative strategies and operational success, making Google a leader in tech and workplace culture. This slide introduces the 7 dimensions of organizational culture as defined by the OCP framework. Each dimension reflects distinct organizational values and behaviors. For example, innovative cultures like W.L. Gore encourage risk-taking, while outcome-oriented ones such as Best Buy focus on measurable results. Understanding these dimensions help us analyze how culture impacts employee behavior and organizational performance. The 7 dimensions of organizational culture, or the OCP framework, are innovative, encourages flexibility and experimentation, for example, Google and W.L. Gore. Aggressive, competitive and result-driven, for example, Microsoft. Outcome-oriented, this focuses on results and accountability, for example, Best Buy. Stable, rule-oriented and predictable, so for example, the public sector or Kraft Foods. People-oriented, this emphasizes fairness and respect. An example of this can be seen in Starbucks. Team-oriented, collaboration and cooperation. This can be seen with Southwest Airlines. And detail-oriented, this is precision-focused, and an example can be seen with Ritz-Carlton. Culture strength and subcultures. Culture strength. This is strong culture is high agreement on values across employees. It can be an asset or liability depending on alignment with organizational goals. For example, Enron's strong but dysfunctional outcome-oriented culture. Subcultures and countercultures. Subcultures are unique cultures within departments or locations. Countercultures oppose broader organizational culture but can drive innovation. For example, innovative enclave in a bureaucratic organization. Corporate cultures are often rooted in founder values. For example, Ben & Jerry's commitment to sustainability and charity stems from its founder's strong social convictions. Additionally, industry demands such as high regulation in banking or a focus on innovation in tech influence the culture. Culture maintenance starts with the ASA framework, attracting, selecting, and retaining employees who fit the company culture. Onboarding then helps integrate new employees, making them feel part of the organization while reinforcing shared values. Attraction, selection, and attrition is the ASA process. Attract employees aligned with organizational values. Select candidates who fit. Misaligned employees eventually will leave. New employee onboarding is important. It helps new employees learn company norms, values, and behaviors. Leadership behaviors and decisions reward systems and recognition, and organizational stories and rituals are all important in maintaining organizational culture. Leaders directly influence organizational culture through their behaviors. For example, leaders who reward collaboration foster a team-oriented culture, while those who emphasize ethical decision-making help build trust and integrity. Reward systems shape culture, behavior versus results. Team-oriented cultures reward collaborative behaviors. Outcome-oriented cultures reward goal achievement. For example, Google rewards innovative ideas, and some organizations emphasize seniority over performance. Diversity isn't just about compliance, it's a business advantage. Companies gain creativity, better outreach, and improved morale by embracing diversity. However, to avoid challenges like miscommunication or work style clashes, management must actively implement training and inclusive policies. Canada and the U.S. are incredibly diverse, and workplaces reflect this with employees from all over the world. It is important for diversity as both a legal requirement and a business strategy. There are many benefits to diversity: creativity, improved outreach and morale, and organizational image. There's also many challenges, like communication barriers and cultural differences, and proactive management and training can help resolve these issues effectively. Women now make up a significant part of the workforce, but challenges like the glass ceiling and sexual harassment persist. Mentoring, training, and strong policies can create a supportive environment for women. LGBTQ and employees With LGBTQ and employees, it is important to have inclusivity. It's also important to have practices like anonymous hiring that can reduce bias. Organizations need to provide safe, welcoming spaces for all employees. Sexual orientation and gender identity at work. Legal protections. The Civil Rights Act of 2020 prohibits discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. Canadian Human Rights Act. This protects against wage and employment discrimination. Challenges for LGBTQ employees. Discrimination, stigma, and decisions to pass or reveal identity. There's a fear of being ostracized that limits networking and advancement opportunities. Benefits of having inclusive practices. There's a reduction in discrimination incidents with anti-discrimination laws and policies, and safe work environments fosters tolerance and trust benefiting all employees. Make sure you have innovative recruiting to remove bias. Anonymous applications omit identifying information and help you avoid bias. Also, having gender-neutral job descriptions. Utilize AI and expert reviews to eliminate unintended barriers. Reducing bias in recruiting. Strategies to promote fair hiring. Having anonymous applications, structured interviews, diverse hiring panels, and bias awareness training. The goal is to select the best candidates based on merit, not unconscious biases. What other methods could help reduce bias in the hiring process? Case in point, Uber pays the price. Uber is a real-world example of what happens when a toxic culture is ignored. Susan Fowler's story explains how leadership failed to address harassment complaints, resulting in reputational damage and lost market share. It is important to take complaints seriously, enforce policies, and create an inclusive culture. Leadership changes and accountability were necessary for Uber to begin rebuilding its culture. Organizational culture is visible in its mission, rituals, physical environment, and stories. For example, Walmart's Saturday morning meetings emphasize quick decision-making and accountability, while Nike's campus promotes energy and competition. Indicators of culture. Mission statement reflects purpose and values. Rituals reinforces values, like Mary Kay's pink Cadillacs. Physical layout, having open spaces equals team orientation, and private offices equals hierarchical culture. And stories and language highlight cultural norms and shared values. Before joining an organization, make sure to research its culture through websites like Glassdoor, observing the physical environment and asking questions during interviews. Once hired, gather information, make a positive first impression, and build relationships with coworkers. It is important to seek feedback and show early successes to establish trust and credibility. Reflect on how these steps can help you navigate your next professional environment.